My turn.
Your turn.
Thank you. I'll bend over. The last meeting, I'll read you something, then I'd like to ask a question.
Would that
Oh,
be
thank
easier?
You hear me now?
Yes.
At the meeting of 4/13/2009, I posed the following questions to the town board. The supervisor said that I should pose questions to the town board, which I did. As I said before, I will take the supervisor and town board at their word that they will answer questions of constituents. On March 24, 2009, I sent an email to the town clerk asking the following questions to be given to the board. 1, how many trips were taken to Washington on behalf of economic development? How much money has the town received from any source to assist this project? Here are some new questions for the board. Who applied for the town credit card? Was this done with board approval? Was the Burden project authorized by the town board? Who authorized the attorney to redact all their vouchers? Please make certain that all board members receive a copy of this, and the town clerk did that. Incidentally, they cannot be reached, a town board member cannot be reached by the information posted on your website. Mr. Ryback does not have a publicized telephone. When I asked the town clerk, she advised me that I should contact them through the supervisor's office. Is that correct?
I have a telephone, and its number's right on my card, my business card.
Yeah, but if I send you an email based on what's in the town website, it don't get to you.
Well, that's why it was said to send it right through the supervisor's office, and it will get to me.
Where are you going to get it?
Right here, in my mail.
You get it, if I send you a personal email, how do I send you a personal email?
Right to the supervisor's email address.
Yeah, but you can
Bill,
contact.
would he then print it and put it in your mailbox? And
Yeah.
that's how you would get it?
Yeah.
Okay. I asked the question, has anyone looked into the, since I sent the email to you, okay. Mr. Dzeski said we are going to be prepared to answer your questions tonight, but Heather was sick and didn't have the opportunity to ask with her today. I would appreciate an answer to these questions in the town board. Who is town's elected representative? Okay. I'd like to start again with the same questions. How many trips were taken to Washington on behalf of economic development? Have an answer to that?
Give that number out.
I don't, but my understanding was that Tracy provided you with that
I
information.
can't hear you.
I don't have a number, but my understanding is that Tracy gave you that information previously.
Okay. How's 14 trips?
I don't know.
14?
14?
Jawaldis, I got your figures to prove it. Now, how about, Mr. Dinsky, you had one on the town credit card, correct?
What was that?
You had one trip on the town credit card.
Possibly. I'm not sure without checking with Gene on that.
Okay. Did you ever charge anything more on the town credit card?
No.
Good. Okay.
And just
How
besides
much money does
that,
the town receive on economic development? Mr. Dinsky, I know you had a thing where you said that.
there's one check that I
Oh,
know
you
right
did?
now that we showed the town board, and that was back in June of 2008.
June 2000, 2008. Did you get that check?
That money is with the New York State Department of Transportation right now.
Yeah. You don't have the money yet, do you?
It's in the hands of the New York State
Okay.
Department of Transportation. They are the ones that,
Okay,
Yeah,
according to
yeah.
your records, give me 1 minute. Let me put this here for a second. According to your records, you have received $62,403.36. That sound right?
That is money you've received from the LWRP grant, is not money from the $700,000 amount.
correct, the state has it.
But don't you have to pass that resolution you had on January 23rd to get that money? Is that part of the state deal?
What they did on tonight's agenda, number 12, will start the process for the town to begin using that money.
But don't you have to go to a VAN to get the money?
That's what I explained. They no longer need to do that because the project is going to be reimbursed at 100% of project cost instead of a split.
I mean, folks, this is a lot of money. The stock market is down 40%. And I think you should be very careful with the people's money. You know, 14 trips to Washington. Did you know, anybody here check that?
I have 4 trips to Washington, 4, not 14, 4.
14 is an approval.
January 2008, September 2007, March 2006, January 2007.
Okay, hang on a second. These are your figures, not mine. Did you know that each time a trip was taken?
Pardon?
Did you know beforehand, did anybody say, I'm gonna take a trip?
We knew that we were going down.
Roy, I haven't been to Washington DC 14 times in my entire life.
What about, I see underlined trip to Washington DC.
14 of them there. Look at the amount of money that was spent for airline fares.
Do you know what is this all about, Gene? I'm going with the figures that I got here in front of me.
I don't know what he's looking at. I know that we provided information, and there may be more than 4 trips total. I mean, the initial numbers I gave him was from the time frame that I have been here. I don't know where he's coming up with 14. I mean, we pulled so many records for him.
14 is not an accurate
That
number.
came from your office, Gene.
It's not accurate.
I didn't provide this right here.
Okay, you got economic.
Right, but I didn't provide this, did you create this?
That's what you sent me.
I didn't create this spreadsheet.
Right?
This spreadsheet I didn't create.
Well, I got it from here.
Show Heather.
So,
It's from '06, the listing there, but I didn't provide that information, so I don't know. I'm not saying it's not accurate, I just know that I didn't
you know,
provide it.
I'm
for
pleading with you
FOIA.
people, please, start looking at the economic situation in this area. I have yet to see you vote down
I
any
don't see
resolution or anybody
14
taking a trip
trips on
or
this
here or any other
document.
thing. Not once.
I don't see 14 trips on this document. I see 14 charges that were associated with
The trip.
possibly 4 trips. I don't see charges for 14 separate trips.
14 is not an accurate number.
Now, let me ask you something else. On the same sheet, our trips to movies, for your bond deal, okay? And trips to Albany, I'm not even including them. How many trips are you taking? And none of this was done with town board permission. That's what bothers me, folks. I mean, are you all yes people up there? Is that what we've got? Mr. Coral, you have an answer for that.
What's your question?
Did you know about these 14 trips before they were taken?
There is no 14
There's no
trips. Let's
14
get that
trips.
started already, okay? There is not 14 trips indicated on those papers you've got in your hand.
There's 14 trips right here. Okay, here. Let me show you this.
I just looked at them, and so did the attorney. The attorney
Right.
just told you there's not 14 trips on there. There's charges on there from various trips. That's not 14.
$22,000 there. Okay, maybe I'll see you someplace else about this.
Thank you, Roy.
Is that a threat, Roy?
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Pardon me? Now, you know, this is serious business, folks.
Roy,
Yeah,
I just asked if there was anybody else who wanted to address the board.
I'm addressing the board.
You're all set.
Did you answer any of the questions I asked you the other day?
Yeah,
What'd you answer?
I told you I didn't go to Washington 14 times in my entire life,
You
which
went
is a
to
true
14
statement.
You did go 14 times?
No, I've never been to Washington DC 14 times in my entire life.
Boy. And some of these records here are not correct.
Well, I can't help that. Is there
Okay.
anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Wait a minute, no, I still got.
Roy, there's one thing you gotta remember. I think Mr. DiStefano can back me up on this. I made it very clear that public input was 1 3-minute limit per speaker. We've given you probably at least 12 minutes.
Are you telling my 3 minutes are up?
That's correct.